Thanks, everybody, for coming. Obviously, recapping the win, I thought it was a great win for our program. For us to go on the road and travel to a Big Ten opponent, certainly an opponent that we have a lot of respect for, and figure out a way to come out of the game with a win was something that we were very happy about. I thought our team started really fast. I thought we embraced the challenge of having to go up there and be physical. I thought we did that. Obviously, getting out to a 21-point lead was huge. We knew they would keep coming, and they did, and they kept battling, and a lot of respect for their program. But our kids just kept fighting, and we kept finding ways to make plays. I thought we made some stops defensively at critical times in the second half. Obviously, the touchdown pass that we got to Jordan Moore was huge, and then we were able to get the big play at the end to seal it. And so very excited to walk away with a win. 2-0 is a great thing for our program, but it's on to the next, and it'll kind of always be that mantra. A couple guys to just single out from the game. I thought Jameon Stinson obviously deserves some credit. Had a tremendous game. Was both our defensive player of the week and our special teams player of the week. Made plays all over the field, and then obviously made the huge one to win the game. I thought Brandon Johnson played exceptionally well as in the secondary as well, and was responsible for an interception and a fumble recovery. That was really important. Jameon Franklin was our defensive lineman of the week. I thought he really did a good job controlling the line of scrimmage and helping us. We outrushed them 221 yards to 76, and that was something that we took a lot of pride in. Offensively, Jordan Waters was our player of the game. I thought he ran as hard as we've seen him run, and really it could have been either of the two backs. I thought Jalen Coleman did the same. I thought we finished runs and ran behind our pads the way we want our running backs to do that. And then overall in our offensive line, I thought we played exceptionally well. I thought we created space. I thought we opened holes. I thought we protected Riley really well. And Graham Barton was our offensive lineman of the week, but just across the board, I thought we got some really good performances out of our offensive line. Like I mentioned, Jameon Stinson was our special teams player of the week, did a really good job in coverage, and also we thought made a huge play on the sky kick that he came running up to start the second half and field, because I thought that was a little bit of a tricky kick that they put together. And so that's kind of wrapping up last week. Moving on to next week, obviously we've got a really good North Carolina A&T program coming in here. Obviously, anytime we get a chance to play an in-state program, that creates a little bit more buzz and a little bit more atmosphere, and so we're certainly excited to host them this week. Coach Washington has done a really good job with that program the last few years. Got a lot of respect for what we see on film. They're a very fast, very athletic team. Defensively, they're very similar to what we saw last week, and Coach Washington has been a defensive guy. They're a four-down front. They're going to really make it hard for you to run the football. They're going to pack numbers into the box, and so we're going to have to really do a good job with our run schemes and creating movement up front. And then offensively, they kind of spread you out. They've got really good athletes. I think they've got a really talented running back. They've kind of been bouncing around two quarterbacks so far to this year, and so it'll be interesting to see kind of where they settle on that coming into our game. But obviously last year they took the opening drive and went 20 plays right down the field to take a 7-0 lead on us. So we've got a lot of respect for this team. Our focus is on the now, and it's on this game, and making sure that we get better every day and come out and play this week to our standard. And so that's our goal of the week and where we're trying to go. And so from there, I'll kind of open it up to questions. Yeah, I think we're continuing to progress in a good direction for sure. I think we're giving up, 11.5 points a game right now. And so that certainly is progress. And that's really the biggest thing that we're focused on with this group right now. This group, it's just, keeping points off the scoreboard. That's a big emphasis to us. And so, yards, obviously we don't want to give up a lot of yards. That's never the goal, but that's not going to be the end result thought process for this group with who we are and where we are right now. We want to keep people's points off the scoreboard. I think we've shown an ability to hold up run game defense. I think that's something that's been a huge emphasis. I thought from a physicality standpoint through 2 weeks we've done that. I think our run defense has been really good. I think for us to hold Northwestern to 2.2 yards a carry is really good. I think obviously the passing game elevated this past weekend. That was a much better passing game that we went up against, and obviously the whole kid presented a problem, and that was something we've got to do a better job with. I mean, we've got to be a little bit more sound in our assignments and what we're trying to do from an execution standpoint, and we've got to do a better job as coaches kind of getting us in better positions to be successful, and that's kind of the challenge this week is elevating that part of the defense. But I'm happy with how hard we're playing. I'm happy with how hard we're competing. We just got to make sure that we continue to work and get better every day. Yeah, I mean, I think we have weapons in that room, and obviously weapons are a huge part of the modern college football era. And so, Jalen's in a really good headspace right now. I'm just really happy with where he's at. He's competing every day. He's got a really good focus. He's obviously extremely athletic. He always has been. He's gone out and he's made big-time plays for us in the game. I thought Eli Penkel's big catch was huge, and he's provided that for us both weeks. He's gone out and made some really heavy contested catches. Jordan Moore, obviously, Samir Hagans has shown up a little bit more week 1 than week 2, but he's been a guy who's been out there for us, and John Tavis Robertson and Darryl Harding are providing us quality snaps. And so we feel like we've got 6 in that room right now that can really go out and be productive and help us.
Piggybacking on Jim's question, are you at all surprised with how quickly, at least to the naked eye, that Jordan has adjusted to that position?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, sure, you never know what it's going to look like, and we even talked about it. Like, we were nervous the first day because you have this tremendous athlete, and now he's going to go out at wide receiver, and we've all seen that not translate, right? And you didn't know what it was going to look like, but it took us probably about 3 minutes to realize he was going to transition smooth, and then you put in the fact that he's a tremendous character kid and he's such a hard worker that you just know he's going to get better every time he goes out to practice. And he still obviously has a lot to work on and improve just from the techniques and the everyday understanding of being a wide receiver. But he'll continue to work and he'll continue to get better. And I think each week you'll see a different product and a little bit better product. Right? I mean, that's what 90% of kids seem to want to do nowadays when these things don't go exactly the way they write them up. And that's just kind of the world we live in now. And he didn't. I mean, he didn't. He jumped at the opportunity to help the team. He jumped at the opportunity to play wide receiver, and he believed in what we were talking to him about in terms of even just being the best for his future and what we see him potentially beyond college as. And so he's jumped that, and he's done a great job. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we want to be. I think we started that in the press conference with the whole conversation about how important the now was. And the reason why that is part of our acronym is because that's the only thing that's ever going to matter, right? You could just look around college football every single weekend and realize that if you don't stay focused on the task at hand, it's very hard to have success. That's just the nature of college football today. And so there's a lot of talented programs out there. A lot of times when you're 2-0, there's a lot more wrong with you than the naked eye sees. And when you're 0-2, there's a lot more right with you than the naked eye sees. And so, every week is its own challenge, and you just got to live into it and become the best you can be.
You guys seem real confident. I mean, where does that come from? The last season, you would think they would not have this confidence that they have. Is that something you can coach in them, possibly?
Yeah, confidence comes from preparation, and confidence comes from how much you put into becoming the best you can become. And these kids know they've worked. I mean, you can't take away, no matter what happens week in and week out, these kids have worked for 8.5 months to get themselves ready for this season. And so we just keep reminding them of that. The work you've put in is never going to go away. And that's where confidence should come from. It shouldn't come from anything else other than you're fully prepared for the task at hand. Yeah, I mean, it's just an understanding that that's always going to be the case. Like whether you win or lose in the game of football, you put on a tape when you win and you expect every play to be right, and it never will be. And there's going to be 5 or 6 plays that if they had gone another way would be the reason why you lost. And when you lose a football game, you expect to come in and see every play be wrong. And that's not what happens either. You see 3 or 4 plays where you were this close to making them and you could have won. And that's just understanding how football works and making sure that your kids understand that that's the reality. You're always this close from the result being in a different direction. And our job week in and week out is to prepare as hard as we can to make sure that those plays go in our favor, right? And I think preparation plays a role in that. I don't think what happened in that game was luck. I think Jalen Stinson played extremely hard to the end of that game and popped the ball out. And obviously that it won us a football game. But I don't think I don't think things are lucky. I think things happen because of preparation. I think we're preparing really well right now. Yeah, I think it's been a couple things. I think one, obviously the starting fast is huge, and certainly you can't sustain that, right? We can't, we scored touchdowns on our first 3 drives, and we certainly won't score a touchdown on every drive. And so there's going to be some ebbs and flows of it. I think just what we've got to do a better job of is, and we talked about this with the guys this morning, is just continuing to be comfortable doing the ordinary things and not getting bored doing what's working. I think when we hit that lull, there was a handful of plays where maybe we just didn't keep doing the things at the same level we had been doing them. I think that's where we've just got to continue to maintain our focus, continue to maintain our edge, and just keep pushing through it. And then, really the biggest lull was the second quarter. We had the back-to-back 3 and outs in the second quarter, and that was, we didn't execute real well those 2 drives. Then you go back and you look at the first drive of the second half, and we go right down the field, and, we have a guy, and we just don't execute the play, right? I think everybody saw that. We certainly had the ability to turn that into a touchdown, and it just didn't go our way. And then, we have another drive where we get down there and we just kind of bog up a little bit and we miss a field goal. And so, there were points left on the board even when, we were in a lull. I still think there were points there for us to have, and we just didn't execute at the highest level. And so, I told our guys, we're 2-0, we're doing well, and we've played at about 60% of our ability at this point. And if we can continue to push, there's a chance we can do something really special. Yeah, no extra motivation. The reality of it is this, and I tell our guys this all the time: 2-0 puts a bigger X on your back. That's all it does. You don't get anything from an advantage standpoint going into next week as a 2-0 football team, other than you get the opponent's full attention. And so we know we're going to get the best from our opponent. That's what 2-0 gets us. And so to me, it just gets us a bigger challenge. Again, I think, confidence is growing because of our preparation. That's important, and I'm excited for that. I think belief is growing in our program of what we're capable of becoming. I think that's exciting. Those are the things that I spend more time focusing on. Those are the things that I think are really tangible ways that we can become a better team. Yeah, I think that part for sure. I think as we try to sell what Duke football can become, in the community, on campus, in the Durham area, I think every success we have is critical, and so to that respect, for sure, 2-0 is not lost on me. I know that was a huge win from a momentum standpoint for our recruiting. For our program. It's a huge win from a recruiting standpoint to go on the road and win that football game. So there are certainly pieces of it for sure that are really, really important. We just try to keep that stuff out of the locker room, right? There's 2 different elements of this thing that we're trying to balance. Yeah, we want to continue to start fast. I think that's the thing that we have done well in both games. I think we've come out of the blocks and started fast. I think we've played our standard of football at a really high level to start each of the first 2 games. Now what we've got to be able to do is come out, start fast, have success, and then sustain it. And that's the challenge, and that's what we're working on. But obviously I would love to continue to start fast. I think that's obviously from an advantage standpoint what we'd like to continue to do. We want to pride ourselves on being a physical football team. We practice really hard. You guys have been out there. Our practices have become a lot more physical. We want that to be something we can hang our hat on. And so obviously I think we knew that was the rhetoric, right? We knew that the reason why people thought we were a 2-touchdown underdog is because we wouldn't be able to go up there and match a Big Ten team's physicality. And so, yeah, we took that personal. Of course we did.
How did you feel John played his first game?
He was good. It's good to get rotation. I think that's one of the things that, having John back, we're able to get more rotation, and that's something we want to be about. I think we're going to be at our best when we're able to play fresh. And we've got it going in the backfield. We've got it going at wide receiver. We've got to continue to get that going on the offensive line, and having John back gave us a solid 7-man group that we were able to go out there with. And, just as you talk through that group, like some of the Jacob Monk's flexibility, to be able to play guard and center is really important to us. Jack Burns' flexibility to be able to play guard and center is really important to us. That allows us to really maximize what we're trying to do. And then obviously being able to rotate, John with Dre Harris and with Graham, and it just keeps everybody playing at a better level because they're fresher as they go through the game. And then I think it allows them to sustain over a 12-game season a lot more because hopefully you don't have that burnout from the snap count.
Speaking of snap counts, the defensive snap counts are really high, and they're going to be high when the other team runs 100 plays, but were some of those a little higher than you would have liked to see, or was
Yeah.
that necessary?
No, we didn't want to be there. Obviously, I think it was a really interesting game because the way the first half played out, I don't think I would change it, but it just was an awkward one from a snap count standpoint. We went out and we scored really fast, and we didn't really have these long methodical drives. Like we were able to kind of go down the field and score, and then we had the back-to-back 3 and outs. So really, we had 5 fairly short drives on offense, 3 that resulted in touchdowns, right? And so that's a good half of football, but they weren't long drives. And then defensively, we really did a good job of limiting explosive plays, but we didn't do a great job of getting off the field. And so I felt it building on the sideline. And when I got in at halftime, I think it was like 46-23, I think is what the snap count was at halftime. And so we challenged our defensive guys in the locker room at halftime because we knew where it was going. And it just was like, hey, listen, this is what we trained for. This is what the summers were about. Like this thing might get up to 100 and we're just going to have to go. And we don't have a choice and we're going to have to go. And I don't know that there was anything we could have really done. We tried to manage the clock a little bit in the second half on offense to try to help, but we knew part of our advantage was playing a little bit faster, and so there was just a little bit of a balance that we were trying to find. But it was not what we wanted for sure, but it was something I think we bought into and overcame.
2 games in now for you as a head coach, have there been any adjustments you've had to make, any curveballs along the way for you?
Sure, a whole bunch of them. But I've learned how to function on the sideline through 2 games. That's been good so far. I've kind of apologized to the ref crew in advance for me getting in anyone's way, and I haven't tripped anyone up. I haven't fallen yet, so that's been good. I think, obviously it's a learning curve for me, and I'm getting into a little bit better rhythm. I think from a game management standpoint and from just being helpful on the sideline and seeing things and being a guy that can be a positive influence on what we're trying to do. I think those would be the areas I'm kind of focused on. Yeah, I thought, I said it after the game, and I think it vowed true in film. We hit the full gamut of it. I thought, we had 14 pass breakups. I thought there were times where we were tighter in coverage than we've been traditionally. I thought there were times where we were on them and really stop the passing game. Then there were times where we weren't. There were times where Hull was a problem. I mean, Hull got matched up, and they did a good job schematically of getting him matched up. And we could have done a much better job leveraging him. We could have defended screens a lot better. And then there were times in some off-yardage situations where we played some zone, and we just didn't execute it the way we would have liked to have executed. And so we've just got to do a better job of coaching them up on. And that's something that's really new to these guys. They haven't been a huge zone team. And so just trying to get them to understand how that needs to look and how the spacing on the field needs to be. And I think that was where some of the really bad spacing plays came from, was just us needing to do a better job of coaching them up on zone understanding. Yeah, I thought he played well. I thought he managed the game well. I thought, we had a different plan. I thought we had to run the ball on the road to be effective in this game, and we were able to do that. And so it wasn't quite as big in the passing game, but, he still made some plays and made some throws. And I think we had 200-yard receivers, and that's something that we're going to hang our hat on. And so, happy with the way he played and managed the game. And, we're still doing a good job of protecting the football on that side, and so that's important.
Considering where you were previously, what was your reaction to the Appalachian State A&M result?
None. Good? All right. Thanks, guys.